You mentioned Foles. Obviously, it looks like Flacco is going to be out there as well. And then just the odd marriage between quarterbacks and teams. You look at the teams drafting in the top 10 right now, not many really need a quarterback, like desperately need a quarterback, with the exception of, remarkably, the Jaguars. You know, my question is how many teams do you think are going to be in the market for quarterbacks, and a name that you think would be on the market for a free agency that you don't expect?
Well, I think you ask a very interesting question about the Jaguars, because I think when you talk about coaches who could be in trouble, I don't know why Doug Marrone wouldn't be on that list. He's supposed to be the second coming of Tom Coughlin, Mr. Discipline. That has been one of the loosest ships, if not the loosest ship, in the NFL this year. And, you know, the head coach is responsible for that. He's responsible for not being able to control Jalen Ramsey. And again, in the offseason, when he says what he says to GQ, that's fine. But can't somebody in that organization, which is supposedly this disciplined organization, can't somebody in there say, "Shut up, you idiot"? Can anybody say that? And can it work? It just seems like the Jaguars. I would seriously consider whether, you know, Marrone is the guy to lead that team forward. That's just my thought. As far as the interesting players out there, I think the one interesting quarterback who will fascinate teams is Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
And I know that Sean Payton likes him a lot, and I know that he'd have a significant amount of interest out there, in part because I think people will look at him and say, you know, here's one guy I don't have to pay $27 million to. That's sort of the way I think. That, in my opinion, I look at Bridgewater, and he's a fascinating player, but he's still unproven. And so I think he'd be the one X factor on the market. I mean, if you had your choice right now, Rich, tell me, who would you rather have?
It's him.
Would you rather have Teddy Bridgewater or Nick Foles?
I'd have him in a heartbeat. And I was talking the other day, Peter, that if the Giants want to move on from Eli Manning, this is the guy to do it. And because him in the backfield with Saquon for years to come and throwing to Odell would make the Giants just as fascinating in my mind as the Browns. I'd love to see that stuff.
But the point I would make is, I would think the money you'd have to pay on the market right now, you'd have to pay significantly more for Foles because of the Super Bowl thing, and because every time he comes in, he seems to get the job done, no matter how he looks. So I just think the quarterback market is really going to be interesting this offseason.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.